troops. Welcome to the Actual Elite. My name is Owen. It's just me and J-Man here tonight, and we're going to be discussing the Exterminator franchise. So, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Now, personally, I love both of these movies. I just love the vigilante genre, and I know you do. I have a feeling you're a fan, particularly of one of the movies, which I think may be given away. I can't imagine which one it would be, though. That's such an awesome poster, though.
I know.
And it was
when
so
I
cool.
found that's the original. It's folded back in the 1985 and prior. Movie posters were all folded. If you wanted an original one, you unfold them and you kind of like the theaters would have to just sort of like spread it out. So this is actually an original folded. Like I've got a Road Warrior folded. I've got like Alan Quatermain, and that one might be rolled. But yeah, Police Academy 4 is over there, and that's a folded one. It's great.
Where did you get this one?
I don't remember. It may have been Movie Poster Warehouse, but it was the last one and the only one. I couldn't believe when I found it. You can, if you're looking for one, check on eBay, because I've seen some other Canon ones on eBay. Like Ninja 3 is on eBay. Ninja American Ninja 4 and 5 you can find on eBay for the original, like 2740 with the white border, because those all had borders, so they might be more than 27 by 40. But they're the original posters, not a reprint or anything like that. Reprints, you could probably just find one, but and I was gonna try to find it. It's in my storage locker, which is the VHS of Exterminator 2, and it was like a cardboard box, and you opened it like a book, and the tape was in it. It wasn't like those clamshell ones where you break them open. It was like a cover, and then the VHS is in it, and it's this poster.
Oh, nice.
I've got that. And of course, we've got it from Shout Factory on DVD and all that too, right?
Yeah. I got the Blu-ray of the first Exterminator, which I got in the UK, but it's region free. So if anybody's looking to get it on Blu-ray, it's region free, and it's got some good special features on it. And I've been watching it over last weekend, and I was just sort of looking at all the behind-the-scenes things and all kinds of things about the movie, which we'll talk about in a second. So we're going to be talking about Exterminator and Exterminator 2, and we'll decide which one is the better movie by the end of it. And if anybody wants to give their thoughts on which one is their favorite, then we will. So I'm going to start off because it's just the two of us, and then I'll let you go. So this first one is directed by James Glickenhaus, who did McBain. And have you ever seen like Blue Jean Cop or Shakedown, as it's otherwise known?
No, I know. I've heard of Shakedown, actually. Yeah. That's the same movie?
It's the same movie, yeah. Blue Jean Cop it's called, I think, in the UK and Europe, but here it's called Shakedown. If it's your birthday or Christmas coming up, I'll get it for you, because
awesome.
You'll love it. So it's such a good movie. James Glickenhaus was such an underappreciated director, because he would make these sort of like grimy movies that just took place in the New York as hell period, as I call it, like the Death Wish movies, where there's just like sleaze, and there's just like all these porno booths and Times Square and everything, and like 42nd Street, and there's like a little documentary on the Blu-ray where they talk about how the street has changed since then,
right?
And saying how there's like all these old theaters that used to be there, and like they're all in the movie, and then they've all been gone. It's all cleaned up, and like the guy who's talking about it is like so sad that all these like porno theaters are gone. So, Man Apart. Oh, first comment, Sam Elliott. Yes, Sam Elliott and Peter Weller. Yeah, that's his in Shakedown. And
yes, I do know that movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I know. I never saw it. I desperately want to see it though.
Oh my god, yeah, there's a great Blu-ray of it, and you find it just some great stuff. There's this roller coaster scene, and I'll just tell you, they really did it. That's all I'm going to say. It's like a real thing. So that is so awesome. But yeah, so the original Exterminator from James Glickenhaus, it's I forgot just how like gritty it is. I mean, it's a nasty movie, like that soldering iron scene.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, I almost have to like mute that scene, because like the kids screaming and everything. I'm like, oh man. Yeah. But I mean, he says, Glickenhaus says on the Blu-ray how he's talking about he wanted the violence to be scary. He said violence is scary. He says, and he wanted every scene to show just how terrifying it is. And I think he really did a good job. But the standout for me is Robert Ginty in the role as John Eastland, because although he's like a vet from Vietnam, he doesn't look like a badass. He just looks like a normal guy. He's not like Stallone or a huge big buff guy. He's just this normal guy. He's been pushed too far. He's not like Bronson or anything, but he's really just a normal guy. But the opening scene is incredible. To me, the opening scene is probably the best sequence of it. In Vietnam, you got all the explosions and the helicopters, and still one of the best decapitations you'll ever see.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
I mean, even now, it's by Stan Winston as well. I found that out as one of his first roles. And when I watched it, and I was like, that is the most convincing decapitation I've seen for some time. And then, of course, you got Steve James, who would go on
small part, but important.
Yeah, but important. Yeah, and it was still awesome. And I always think that it's sort of the best Punisher movie we never saw.
Yeah,
I just thought, particularly the meat grinder scene. He's hanging the guy over, and it's pure Frank Castle, and that's always the kind of thing which I want to see in like a Punisher movie. There's some great stunts. You've got Erwin Keyes, who I don't know if you know him. He's the guy with like the big black eyebrows, and he plays one of the thugs in the opening.
Oh, yeah. And then he was in part 2 as well.
He's in part 2 as well as Monster.
Yeah, he's from The Hills Have Eyes and all that.
Yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses and everything too. Yeah, so it was awesome to see him. But but what's interesting, this is the most interesting thing about this, where I had no idea about this. On the Blu-ray, James Glickenhaus is talking about it, and he says how Exterminator 2, he doesn't consider like a proper sequel, so he wasn't involved with it. He sold it and was like, yeah, whatever. But he said, I do consider a sequel to this movie. He says, but it's not Exterminator 2, it's First Blood.
Oh,
like,
wow.
What? And apparently, he says, whenever you see him crawling out of the water at the end, he said it could be him because he's got the green jacket and everything on. He said he goes to a town, and then First Blood happens, and he says, I consider First Blood the unofficial sequel to the Exterminator. I was like, wow, that is so awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but it captures the sleazy element of New York at the time. So really scary, where there's just like rape and murder and everything. It's really disturbing. But I always thought it never quite lives up to the awesomeness of the poster of the guy with the flamethrower, which the second movie does. But this one almost focuses a bit too much on the horrible stuff rather than him, saving the day or whatever. But it's not really about that. It's another Vietnam sort of metaphor movie where it's like, he leaves one war and comes home to another one, First Blood or whatever, which is why he thinks it's, a sequel. But I think this one is still a great movie. Hold on, I've got a comment here.
Wolverine.
Steve James came off as a real badass between him and Ginty. Yeah. I know. It's funny. Steve James always got cast as the sidekick whenever he should have been the lead. I mean, let's face it, he was the best in American Ninja.
Yeah, he's. I love. We're gonna do, if we do an American Ninja thing, I love Steve James. I'm like all over that. He's the best. Jackson.
Oh, Jackson. Yeah, I mean,
Jackson.
Love him. Yeah. So I mean, because I know Sam Furstenberg's agreed to do a live stream with us, so I got to message him at some point. We'll do that, and we'll talk about Riverbend as well and some of those other movies. So so that's my thoughts on the first one. Generally, I said it was really good, really gritty, but doesn't quite deliver on the action spectacle after the opening scene. It's almost too disturbing to be fun. It leaves a bad taste in the mouth. So what are your thoughts on the first one?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo pretty much what you're saying. This movie, to me, there's like this genre of movies, and you alluded to it, which is this like really nasty, gritty, realistic. We're not trying to be fun. And I would put this with like Maniac, like a Basket Case 1, right? It's just like sleazy. Death Wish 1, Exterminator. You could almost do like you could do a movie marathon of just
it's all the same universe.
and it's all this really nasty stuff, and it's almost not fun. You're right, but I gotta tell you, I really love this movie a lot. Like, I know I've got the poster for part 2, and part 2 we'll get to it, but when we get to part 2, but this to me is this is realized in part 2, right? In part 1, not so much, as you pointed out, but he's a great character, John Eastland. I like that it's somewhat realistic too. He doesn't just go around and like is unstoppable and just kills everybody. It feels like he is in danger, like he might not win, right? Like, even with Steve James, when they don't even kill him, they cripple him, and you're like, okay, well, he's going to go on revenge, but it's not even like that. It's just like, he's just done. He's like, okay, I've got those guys. He's like, I've killed the guys that did this to you, but you know, this entire society has taken from us, so we're going to get some money for you, right? So he goes after the mafia a little bit. He has no specific target. It's more like, I'm going to just nail anybody that I feel is bad. And when he learns about the chicken, the chicken farm or whatever it is, where it's like there's the boys and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and he goes there and he's like, yeah, I got some little boys that I could sell you. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, I'll take them. And then he's like, are you serious? It's like, is this really happening?
You're a sick motherfucker, aren't you?
Like, you're sick. And then he just kicks the shit. And I've got to say, I've never been more happy to see people get killed being the bad guys than in this movie. I'm like, screw all these people. Like, this is like, and look, I believe that, everyone, you got to have their due process and they have to go get their trial dates and get sentencing. But if there's ever a case where you don't want to go through the due process.
You set these guys on fire.
Yeah, these guys are in there. Like that perverted ex-mayor or whatever it was.
With a soldering iron. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Oh, what? And like what he does to that woman and everything. And you're just like, this is just so awful. And yeah, it's kind of not fun. But I love Exterminator. This is one franchise where I personally would love to take this character and move it on. I literally, when I had seen these first two, I love these, both of them. I started to think about my own Exterminator 3 and what I would do. And I'd love to redo this franchise and actually have this be a character that continues on for like several films because, and I think the motif of the fire where he could use different fire things, like different kind of fire weapons or thing like different chemicals and stuff is a really cool idea. The first movie he used whatever weapons were available. He had his gun. He did the mercury tip bullets and all that. So he did a lot of cool stuff like that. I'm trying to see what other notes. I mean, there's so many. The one sort of negative, if I'm looking at this from a film perspective, is the love story with the detective and the girl, who are great actors, and I know the actors, and we've seen them in several things. It's just that entire side plot seems sort of like it almost feels like it was inserted to make the movie palatable, so I don't have to just literally see evil and gritty and sickening images.
Just so there's still some good in the world. Yeah,
there's still some good in the world. The problem is that I find it slightly just kind of not believable, but you're just like,
it's just there to move the story along, just so he can end up meeting John Eastland later on. Yeah,
right. But I completely understand why that needs to be in the movie. I think if those scenes were removed, this movie would just be like, I can't watch it.
Snuff film.
It's just a snuff film almost. And yeah, it's like Maniac. Maniac is gross and brutal too. And it's like, yeah, this one is just like, at least there's the love story. So I'll give it points. I kind of was like, but I understand why it's there. What else? There's a great line where the detective says, it sounds like you're taking a shit, but it's coming out of your mouth or something like that. Great line on that one. The soldering iron I did, the meat grinder.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things are so memorable in this movie. Like, I watched them both last night back to back.
I did them at the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, it was so great. And I mean, the first one is so ugly, which I think serves it better. Like the Blu-ray, I heard the transfer wasn't so great because you can't make it any better. It's as good as it is, right, on the Blu-ray, because it's not like you can do an HD or upgrade that. It's like you need it to look.
It has to look gritty and dirty.
Look gritty and dirty, right? Which is awesome. So I love the first movie. Yeah.
The other thing, also, when I was watching the second movie, which we'll get to in a second, but the first one doesn't actually have a bad guy, and like there's no main antagonist. Kind of like the first Death Wish, where it's just bad guys on the street, whatever, and just generic thugs, whatever, that need killed. But there isn't actually someone that you're hating. Like, I can't wait for this guy to get what he deserves. So that's where the second movie becomes sort of more. It is more of your generic vigilante action movie, and it is more fun. So let's just go through a couple of these comments and we'll go to the second one. So the second movie made up for a lot of the first movie. I did love the poster. Yeah. Sad to say, I've never seen either. Right. You got to get on that, dude. Right. This weekend, cancel your plans and just do a double bill. Yeah. Ginty's character came off as a coward, but all of a sudden Ginty becomes Frank Castle. I don't think he wasn't a coward. He just trying to sort of keep to himself, really. He just wanted to be left alone, kind of like Rambo. And then they pushed him too far. But that was the thing, is that he's supposed to be this unassuming guy.
Yeah.
So, first time watching both movies today.
Nice.
That's to your comment, do it. Just change the names. Yeah. Yeah, just change the name to Frank Castle, and then that's basically what we'll see. The Punisher movie we've always wanted.
I don't know who owns John Eastland. You can or call him Jack Westland or something weird. Like
Northland. We'll just change it to a different direction. Yeah.
Yeah, and call him like Eliminator or something. The Eliminator or whatever.
The Punishinator.
The Punishinator. Were you stunned? Were you not stunned, but were you caught off guard that the cop get killed at the end? Like the CIA guys come in, they're douchebags. Yeah,
they're the villains. Actually, when you think about it, I was like, they're the main villains. The CIA, as usual. I'm going to get assassinated now. If I have an accident, you'll know why. If I disappear. So the second movie has nothing to do with James Glickenhaus. This is a canon film, and all the better for it. This is directed by Mark Buntsman, and yes, it lacks the grit of the first movie, but it just goes for crazy action and delivers on all the goods. Like the poster in the background, dude's got a flamethrower and he uses it regularly, and it delivers exactly what you want it to be. Just torching bad guys. The main villain is Mario Van Peebles, who as X, wearing this bizarre Mad Max style outfit for whatever reason. It's the 80s, who cares? Love him in it. And I don't think I've ever seen an action movie with so many people on roller skates. It's like so 80s. You got that guy in the roller skates. It's like, why are there so many roller skates?
Break dancing, and I'm like, is this made with breaking? And they just kind of like
there's cut scenes,
and it's like there's like break dancing in the side there.
Yeah, and then you got him doing that flip off the truck, which I love. That's awesome. And then the armoring up the garbage truck at the end and just turning it into like this death machine. I was like, I want to.
I love it. I know, I love it.
I just love movies like that whenever they have a vehicle. That's what they should do with Expendables 4, just on a tangent. They did a big fucking awesome truck with weapons on it and like fires like birds at people or something.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's so much more openness in the second one where you've got like an extra guy helping them. Building the big death machine or whatever.
Yeah, Frankie Faison, love him.
And having an actual vigilante costume. Like this is a very marketable character now. Like I could see figures. This is the way my mind works. I'm thinking figures, and X could be a figure. You could do gang members. Like they could do this as one of these retro toy lines, like how they did the Escape from New York toys, or like.
And I'd buy them all.
I would buy them all. Like I need a statue of John Eastland.
Yeah, just in fact a statue of him with the flame with the mask down. That would be epic. Have you noticed that vigilantes can't have girlfriends or any relationships because they're doomed right from the start? It's like Paul Kersey, all of his women were like killed or left. Yeah. And then the second one, she ends up just getting beaten up by the thugs, and then they end up coming in. I love the way they do that, where you don't see her die. You just get the quick like subliminal flashes where you see her body, and that's it. And I thought it almost worked better at doing it more subtly like that, rather than saying, "Look, you have to see everything." I was like, "No, you don't actually need to see everything. Just give us a hint of it." But worst thing about it is the music. The music
I love it. It's the same song repeated. I actually have it on my phone.
It's just constant.
I remembered that music from when I first saw that movie. And to this, like I just put it in again last night. I'm like, oh yeah, the music is coming up. It's like, but
it's like he's like getting all ready for war. It's like, it's really just unsuitable music.
I love it. I have it on repeat. It's like there's basically like 3 tracks, and it's just the same thing repeated over and over again. The same 3 tracks.
It should be a ringtone on my phone. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to do that now.
Yeah, well, Halloween is my ringtone. I'm never getting rid of that.
That's understandable. Yeah, my ringtone actually is Godzilla's roar. So like,
that's my alarm.
So like, I'm at work and all I hear is, like, what's up? Don't know.
Yeah, I've got tons of ringtones. My message tone is Power Rangers actually, but like I've got Godzilla's roar, and some of those are my alarm. So it's like I wake up to like, I'm like, oh shit,
It's Godzilla. You
Godzilla.
wake up in the morning. Let's see. Flamethrower plus garbage truck. Yes,
Oh,
equals epic.
come on.
I mean, it doesn't get better. Yeah. Minor changes cause no menage. Yeah.
Yep.
Mario got to make his own costume for the movie as well. Yeah. Now I think before we get to the new, we need to mention the epic bad guy death for Mario Van Peebles, where he like is blown up, then falls off and gets impaled on those spikes. But then the best thing is the huge sign in the background that says "safety first."
First, yeah, no, I noticed, and I'm like, look, the director knew that was funny.
Oh, that was brilliant. I mean, that was the thing. The movie, this was just more of a cartoon, pure canon action movie, and it doesn't have the grit, no soldering iron horribleness or anything. Just imagine the Exterminator meets the Punisher meets Frank Kersey 3 times the punishment. Yeah, and the body count, and if the body count is less than 300, it's a disappointment. We needed a video game as well. Yes, it did. Yep. Same as Canon playing the Delta Force on the entire movie. Yeah, absolutely. And then didn't Jill Irons' character Jerry Nichols go unmolested? Yeah, she left at the end, didn't she? Is that the one where she left?
There's one where she just kind of leaves him because he's just gone. Like she didn't. He kept lying to her, saying, "Oh, I think that was the second one," and that was his real life girlfriend at the time. Am I correct? I might. Yeah, I think I'm right on that. His real life girlfriend, and then
that's Jill Ireland. That was his wife. Yeah, Jill Ireland was.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was his wife at the time. Yeah.
And apparently, the girlfriend was meant to live in part 2, but kind of severely re-edited and reshot some of it. Yeah, it sounds like that. So over to you for part 2.
Yeah. So I mean, everything you're saying, like I love X. Yeah, this one's a movie. Mm-hmm. The first one has very little narrative, really. The first one is different locations, different bad people getting exterminated by John Eastland. The loose plot is his friend is injured and he's trying to get revenge, whatever. This one is more of a movie, and it's canonized. Let's call it canonized, and that's the Death Wish 3 versus the Death Wish 1. You know what I mean? It's like, are you gonna want like Death Wish 1, Exterminator 1 are grittier, hardcore. Listen, they're not messing around. They're not for everybody. Some people can't take them. And if you can't watch those 2 movies, then you watch Exterminator 2 and Death Wish 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fun, like, hey, Owen, you're coming to my place. Let's get a 6-pack. Let's order a pizza. Let's have some popcorn and let's watch, Death Wish 3, Exterminator 2. Like that's a great weekend viewing, right? So
damn straight.
Yeah, it's very difficult to rate these against each other. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to pick probably what's more enjoyable to watch, I guess, with the cheesy soundtrack. But Exterminator 2, because I love the idea of branding and characters. I collect toys, and I collect comic books. This felt like comic book sensibilities. There's a villain who's got an X. He's got a motif. He's got his little logo. He actually puts X's on people. He owns the streets. It's sort of like a Warriors. Warriors is one of my favorite films of all time.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got that Warriors feel of his gang, and he's the X gang or whatever, and he owns the streets, and all that, right? And Ginty's trying to just literally exterminate these people. Now I remember there was a few flaws where he's holding a different flamethrower, like the cannon that you see here. Is using a lot of shots that I think were probably second unit or something, because the shots with Ginty actually holding it's a different flamethrower, and I noticed that immediately. I'm like, oh, that looks weird, and that's because they have to do reshoots. Canon didn't like the way the movie went, so they reshot some of it. But making the vehicle, having his buddy, teaming up, fighting the guys, putting that guy in the garbage truck, is great. John Turturro apparently is in this movie, but I cannot seem to pinpoint him.
John Turturro, really?
According to Wikipedia, and I can't seem to find him. I don't know if anyone in the comments knows where he is.
I've never noticed him again.
Yeah,
I have to watch it again now.
Exactly. I'm looking. The dancing is great. He goes to the nightclub to see his girlfriend. Like he's trying. Like the relationship is better. Like I understand what's going on because this one is more about him all the time. The first one still had the side story. Because those 2 actors, I can't remember their names in part 1, were larger actors, and I've seen them in other roles on TV and film. But this one, Ginty is the main guy. It's his story. Yeah. It's X and him. And I like this because we see X's thinking. I like when you see the villains thinking. He's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. and then, oh, my brother's killed. Okay, well, I want to get revenge on him.
Mm.
I like that. So I got two characters that are playing off each other, and then each character has side characters, and then they all fight at the end. I just, it's better. God, when we're saying a canon movie is better crafted as a story,
the thing is, I love stories or movies where it's the bad guy who's out for revenge against the good guy, rather than the good guy who's out for revenge. Oh, you killed my wife or whatever, but it's the bad guy. So then it sort of changes the dynamic. So love that. What else do I want to say about it? Interesting enough, the first movie, and this is something that James Glickenhaus did before also with Shakedown, is that a lot of his movies were inspired by newspaper articles. And he said that the whole point in the Exterminator was he was reading how someone had been mugged and that they were going to be paralyzed for the rest of their life. And he said, you're reading it, and I remember everyone was like, oh, that's terrible. It's an awful thing that happened. Somebody has to do something. And then, after a few days or weeks, you forget about it and you move on. But that guy's still paralyzed for the rest of his life, and he hasn't. So this guy, the Exterminator, John Eastland, he does do something about it and go out to actually stop this from happening. And I was like, okay, that's interesting that, while everyone else is moving on with life, some people don't and actually will do something. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic there. So yes, R.I.P. to Melvin Van Peebles.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes,
legend. Yeah, J-Man nailed that comparison. Yeah, that was an excellent comparison. Well played.
Yeah.
The movie had all the canon checklists for action movies. It did.
Yes, I agree.
I found Exterminator 2 on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good. Watch the first one though, if you can find it somewhere, because it does help to see the first one. I mean, you don't need to have seen it, but
and could not be reached as a personal friend of mine, so I will. I'll loan it to you. I can loan you the first one, but I don't have the second one. I have as part of a 4-pack, so I don't loan that one out.
Oh, is that I think I have that too.
You get Alienator.
Yeah.
Oh, Alienator is awfully good. Alienator has John Philip Law and could not be reached. John Philip Law is one of his boys, and he's an Alienator. But yeah. Alienator has the guy from Mechanic too.
That's right. And then one of the other two, and it's got Eye of the Tiger on it as well.
Yeah, Eye of the Tiger,
which I love. Yeah,
that's great.
So
that's the one. Yeah.
At some point, we'll do a stream. We'll just talk about those other 3 movies. Just talk about them.
I have Alienator on VHS for Christ's sakes.
Oh my god! Yeah, I hadn't seen that for a while. So yeah, I think that was everything which I wanted to say about the Exterminator movies. So I'm going to vote, and I'm going to say that although part 1 is like the grittier movie and maybe has more to say about Vietnam and everything else, for just a balls out entertaining action movie, I got to choose part 2. So I vote Exterminator 2 all the way. So what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I had an Exterminator 2 shirt. I've got an Exterminator 2 poster, which I.
So yeah, I kind of knew before we just started.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Exterminator 2. I had it on VHS, which is very difficult to find. It never came out officially to purchase. It was it was only I used to get these I used to go to video stores and talk to the manager, and I would ask him to buy the rental copies, and then they would always check to see how many times it gets rented, and then if it doesn't get rented very often, he'd sell it to me. So I would actually get movies. That's how I would actually get movies. I just go like, "Hi, can I speak to the manager?" And I would go and be like, "Can I buy these copies?" That's how I got a lot of my movies, the good old fashioned way. Now this is on Blu-ray, for Christ's sakes, on a 4-pack. You pay $20 and you get 4 movies, and each one of those I had to find. Alienator, Jesus Christ, you'll never find. I don't know how I found that. That was just crazy. But
you should have to change your name to Karen then, if you're going to have to speak to managers all the time. Like, my name's Karen. I want to speak to the manager, please.
I love Exterminator 2. I wanted to point out something with the decapitation, because there's very few movies, like Hell Night is one that comes to mind. This one also comes to mind as one of the better decapitations, and the way this one was, the way this one was done is that the head was always fake. So they pulled this trick in The Thing when they're doing the blood test, and there's a part in The Thing where when they're doing the blood test and it sprays it. I think there's a fake hand or something at one point. I'm pretty sure it was The Thing, because that's where they do the blood test. I think it was that. But the trick is that the shots before you show the fakeness, so that, because if you showed a real head and then the next shot's a fake head and it gets cut off, your eye immediately says, "Hey, that's not the same thing." So what they did was every time you watch this again, every time they flash back to that guy, it's always a fake. It's always the fake head. So your eye it tricks the eye better. So when it gets cut off, they're really cutting off that thing. You're like, whoa, and it's done so clean.
Oh, it is.
It's just like, oh god damn, and that was brutal. So I really like the way that they did that. And I like that it wasn't like all Vietnam. Like it wasn't like this big action scene in Vietnam. It's just like, look, he gets captured, he sees a guy beheaded, and then that's it.
But the thing was, the way it was shot, bro, was at nighttime. It just looked like they were in hell. With fire and explosions everywhere, and it was just this really sort of disturbing visual. And you just feel like, oh my god, that actually they were in hell. And then when they go to New York, and they're still in hell. It's just a different kind of hell. So, but they've like cleaned it all up now, and you can go to Times Square, and there's no porno places anymore in Times Square anymore.
I know. Like, these movies, you like if I was to remake this or start from scratch, I would have to really think about how I would do, because me thinking about this is when I was like, this is like 24 years ago or whatever. I'm thinking about like what would I have done, if I was to continue this series on, and I would streamline the costume a bit, not have like the big bulky thing, even though it's realistic to have that big flamethrower. I would have like made it like an arm cannon thing where he could just point his arm and flamethrower. Make a sleek mask that like still keep this motif, but more like it like a thing can slide up so he could see better than it can slide down when he flames if he needs to, something like that. Like I would modernize it and make it more like a character. And I love the idea of X. I would have like a different villain in every movie, maybe a sidekick every so often, maybe
I got a new name. I got a new name. You just call him Molotov, and he has like Molotov cocktails around him as well, and he uses the flamethrower, and he has the Molotov cocktails. He's just all about fire, and he just like burning it in. There you go.
Like you have like utility belt of different flame items. Well, our friend Steven is running an RPG game that's going to be an action-based game. So I'm going to be John Eastland, and I'm going to be the Exterminator in that. So I don't know.
I'm a demolitions expert, and I haven't decided what character I'll be though, but that'll be fun.
So I think that'd be really neat to do something like that. But I think it's a great series. I think it could easily continue. If you would have asked me back in the day, I would have said I like Exterminator more than Death Wish, which seems probably impossible to actually think now, because the Death Wish movies are so well done. They're all very, very well done. They are on a little bit of a higher level. But Exterminator 2, the flame, just the look of this character, this poster, this poster happens. This happens in the movie. Like there's X right there. This guy I think is X. It's like this happens in the movie. It's awesome.
It delivers the action goods, which the first one maybe didn't. Where I think there's like one scene where he has the flamethrower in the first one, but I thought the second one he just uses it more, and it's sort of his motif is he uses the flamethrower. But so he says better than the decapitation. The Omen decapitation was good. Well, while we're here, let's talk about some of our favorite decapitations. I think this is an important subject that needs to be discussed.
Wow,
the Omen is definitely way up there. Sean Connery and Highlander as well. That's a good decapitation. As upsetting as it is for me to watch Sean Connery get decapitated, but that's definitely good.
I like Hell Knight.
I don't think I've seen that.
So Hell Knight is Linda Blair, and there's a great part where, like the guy, like it's like holds the head and then slices off, and the body falls down. So they did a fake body. So it's a real head and a fake body, and it's like filmed kind of like how you see me. So this here is fake, and the head is like behind. So it cuts. It's like, and you're like, oh, because it's like, oh, and you're like, oh shit. You're like, that was pretty. I always thought that's a great idea to do it reverse. Like, what other good ones, man? There's a lot. Like,
there's so many decapitations, so little time.
Even The Hobbit had a few good ones, right? Like where they
when Aragorn decapitates Lurtz with the two swords. Yeah,
that was crazy. I mean,
Gladiator as well. Yeah,
Gladiator. Yeah. But yeah,
Ghost Ship Captain at the beginning. Yeah,
Ghost. Oh yeah, yeah, that was good.
That was a good one. Wrong thing.
Yeah. No, The Omen is awesome. That's an awesome one.
John Turturro played Guy #1 in Exterminator 2, so I'm playing in this role. His second credit on IMDb. Okay. and Deadly Friends. I haven't seen that.
Deadly Friend. Yes. No, I have not seen that, but I have it.
Thulsa Doom and Conan.
Oh,
How come you didn't mention that, Jay? Come on.
That's my favorite movie of all time. How'd I forget that?
For
That was just
shame.
so emotional for me.
Yeah.
That entire movie is emotional for me. When he's hypnotizing him and then he kind of breaks free of it, and then he like, I'm just so into what's going on that I don't even think of that as a cool decapitation scene. I'm just like, wow, this is like so awesome. And he just holds the head up and throws it. It's like, yeah.
I know you've done it before, but we haven't done it on this channel. I would like to do like a Conan stream where we talk about the two Arnie ones and then also the Jason Momoa one as well. So I think we could do that maybe in a few weeks. But also somebody suggested for the next versus. Also, I think you've done this as well, but or I think you were on like another channel and you did it, but someone asked for this channel, and it was Judge Dredd versus Dredd.
Yeah, I did do that, but I have so much to say on both those films that we can easily do it, and I know some of the comic book content as well, so I have a little bit of extra knowledge on both those movies. Yeah, I would definitely do that.
Okay, so maybe do that for the next versus then in the next few weeks. So next week we're doing 2 streams. Monday night, me and Cameron are discussing Miami Vice. Awesome. So if anybody wants to come on and join us, you can. Because I just watched Miami Vice like last year, all 5 seasons. It's like my favorite. It's like my favorite show of all time. Yeah, but just watching it and seeing all the people who were in it and who are like stars now, like Bruce Willis and Julia Roberts and all these people were in it. So that was awesome. So yeah, that's on Monday, and then next Friday after we've seen No Time to Die, I figure we'll discuss No Time to Die, and then we can sort of rank the Daniel Craig Bond movies because that'll be the end of the year. So I think that will be a good one. So that'll be the 2 next week. So those will be the next live streams.
And then sometime in October, you're going to come back on my channel. We're going to do the Halloweens, right? We put that on if we want to see this one, and we're going to rank all 37 Halloween movies
in alphabetical order. I'm sure the Final Destination films have some decaps. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they should.
There's something in I can't remember. God, I love the Final Destination movies. It's one of my like guilty pleasure franchises. I've never been on a roller coaster, and since seeing Final Destination, is that 3?
3 or 4, I don't remember. Yeah.
I can't remember, but I went like, no, it's not happening. I'm never going to a roller coaster. It's the kind of thing that will never happen in real life, but it will the day I do it. So, but yeah.
You went on that CN Tower thing. That's way worse, dude. I would never go on that. That's too scary for me.
Yeah, but I was on a harness though, so that's safe for. I don't know why. Yeah. I felt safe the whole time. Whatever. Anyway, so so I think Exterminator 2 is a winner. If anybody has any comments you want to say any different, and go ahead. So yeah, I think that's it. So Exterminator 2, I think, is the winner. Both are great fun. Well, fun maybe isn't the right word for the first one. The first one's a real tough watch, but I do love it. And like I said, Robert Ginty was very underrated. I thought he never really became like a huge star, but he did some good movies like Bounty Hunter and other roles. And I thought he was sort of like an unassuming actor. He never came across as like like I said, a huge tough guy, but he just came across as like the everyman, and that's why he was sort of more believable, or someone who just pushed too far. So yeah, it's too bad we never got a part 3, but Glickenhaus never wanted to even do any sequel, like I said. So he just sold it, but whatever.
I mean, I understand his point. Like, he made his point of violence and the damage it does to the community and to people themselves, and violence just brings more violence, and it's like Vietnam screwed up so many people, and like now this guy is crazy, and it's like, but like, I mean, it's to the point where do you want this to end? It's that theory that there should have only been one Halloween, or there should have only been one Friday the 13th. If there was only one Halloween, if there was only one Death Wish, if there was only one Exterminator, we wouldn't be talking about a lot of this stuff, right? Because these things, like, because there's 12 now 12 Halloween films, this is why Halloween is a thing. This is why you gave me Michael Myers, the big one. I have The Mask. Like, it's like, this is why there is this stuff, right? So like, these movies are important.
It keeps it alive in people's minds.
Yeah, like Canon is an important company, regardless of what people might think of the quality of the films they produce. But it made a dent.
They're not my friends.
Yeah, I never knew that Canon was. I actually know, honest to God, and I'm not trying to be funny, I never knew Canon was bad. I literally would see Canon. Yeah, I would see the Canon logo and thinking, oh, right, this is going to be an awesome movie. Because I literally loved all the ninja stuff, the Exterminators, He-Man,
Bloodsport, Cobra.
Bloodsport. Yeah, like I never thought that they were bad or stupid. I legit thought they were great.
Mhm.
I'm fine. I can't even find fault with even rewatching them now. And I went to university. I took film courses, right? Like I've got a degree, and I'm still thinking, no, I really like Canon.
No.
I don't know.
It's just film snobs or people who like to look down on the genre. It's like the two genres that get looked down on by people are action and horror, and they're the two best genres. Yeah, it's like they're my two favorite genres. I love sci-fi as well, and even then, that doesn't even get that much respect. But where we always talk about canon, I love PM Entertainment movies as well, and that's sort of like the 90s version. And arguably, you could say the quality of PM Entertainment's movies were better. Like, I don't know if you've seen them, but they're like Zero Tolerance with Robert Patrick, and there's so many good movies. So at some point, I'm going to do a stream on PM Entertainment, but that's going to take a long time. So we might just do like a movie or two. But yeah, Canon over Trauma or The Asylum, absolutely. Canon overall. Canon was amazing. I love Canon films.
Nice.
Ginty kind of looks like DB Sweeney. He does actually. You do DB Sweeney in the new one. Robert Ginty died like a good few years ago. He died quite young, I think. So can't drive in log trucks now. Yeah, after Final Destination 2. I think isn't that like a meme now or something where you just show pictures of like the logs on trucks and everyone's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I've seen Final Destination 2.
Well, I wanted to mention something too, which I was mentioning right before we started streaming, and that Owen and the Action Elite are mentioned on the Wikipedia page for Exterminator Part 1. So if you guys in the chat want to check out Wikipedia, Owen is...
I need to check this out because I haven't even seen that.
Yeah, so I was doing some research last night just to prep for tonight because I actually prep for Exterminator movie. it's like we're reviewing some big intellectual,
this is important.
Yeah, this is important. I need to research this. So I saw Action Elite. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I wonder if Owen knows about this. And it's like, so you did not know about this. I'm the first telling you. I'm so happy that I told you this. But if you go to
Contemporary critics have been more appreciative. Owen Friel of the Action Elite awarded 3.5 stars out of 5, even though he found the opening scene quite shocking. Yeah, shocking is good though. The acting a bit ropey, yeah, it was, and the effects dated. Well, were they? I don't know. I thought the effects were still pretty good. Was I high? I don't remember that.
Hey, he's also mentioned on.
Really? Who puts this stuff on there? I don't do it. There's some magnificent human being. I don't know who you are. I don't know if it's like Santa Claus or somebody, but some magnificent bastard goes on to IMDb and adds all my reviews onto the external review section of IMDb. Like, I don't do that. I've never done that. And I go on and I see him like, who's doing this? Whoever you are, I owe you a Coke. Because that's awesome. So I have no idea who it is.
That is awesome. Well, the site is a very big, legit site that people are looking, and trust. So, I mean, I'm glad that you did that your name's on there for. So that because if you're not putting that on there yourself, someone on Wikipedia is searching for Exterminator reviews and found yours to be something that needs to be quoted. Because you're there with Ebert. Like it's like they mentioned Ebert and they mentioned you. Like you're the two people that got mentioned, I think, in that one.
Yeah, and I would appreciate the violence more than Ebert would have.
Yeah, so. It's great that that people are paying attention because it's important, and I think that sometimes people you can scoff at these movies and whatever, but I think it starts creative processes because I'm a writer and I've written a few novels and stuff, and I do short stories, and I always want to do an Exterminator type of thing. So obviously that in my mind has played out in some of my other stories that I've written, and I've written some revenge stories and stuff. So I mean. Anything that starts someone on a creative path, whether it's to make a website to discuss films or whether it's to write something or to do a YouTube channel or whatever you do, it's important and it does have some meaning because people are watching us right now, people are liking, subscribing, whatever, and they're commenting and they're sharing their thoughts. And I mean, I don't see why that's a negative thing for anything. Like, oh, let's make fun of canon, yeah, but if it's bringing fans together in a positive way, I don't see what the problem is. So, anyone making fun of this stuff is bullshit.
Yeah, these people aren't people I'm friends with. It's like when people talk shit about Cobra, I'm like, how can you possibly say anything bad about it? What weird. I'm desperate to do one on Cobra. We'll do that in the next few weeks. that can just be like a 3-hour marathon chat where we'll just be talking about how epic it is.
We should one time do a commentary track because they can
Yes.
do that now.
Oh, I
just
know.
have it on in the background, so you can't show it on YouTube, but we can watch it.
We can watch it and just speak through it, yeah.
And just speak through it, and you can stream it, and then people can watch that later, and it'll be like a 90-minute stream or whatever. That would be so fun.
That would be a fun idea. Actually,
we should think of a movie like that. Damn, I just thought of that right now. That's great. We should definitely do something like that.
That's a good idea, yeah, because we can do that and. It's sort of a fun way of doing a new stream and doing something different. Because I'm always looking to sort of come up with something new to keep the site interesting rather than doing the same thing all the time, which is why I wanted to do YouTube. Because I don't know if anybody knows this, but this is actually the 10th anniversary of the Action Elite. I started this back in 2012, January 2012 it was. So that's why I wanted to do something different. So we started doing YouTube videos after a couple of people had said so. So. There we are.
I mean, it's exploded in the 10 years. It's gotten so huge. That's crazy.
I know. I can't believe I'm still doing it. I mean, I remember I lost my job at the time and I was waiting for something to happen in the background, which I won't go into, but it took a few months. And I was like, I remember just one day, I was like, why don't they make action movies anymore? And then I started, I'm just going to start a website about that. And just, I miss, watching fun action movies. And that's when I started the site. Had I met you before or after the site?
I don't remember. No. I'm pretty sure. I think it was after the site. But the reason why it's lasted is because you actually care about the thing. And I think what happens is that, the site gets bigger and bigger because people start to notice that the person behind it actually cares about what they're talking about, rather than you're just doing a site in order to get a click or whatever, right? And that's the problem with the clickbait stuff. It's like people see that it's not genuine. As soon as someone sees that this guy doesn't give a shit, it's over. And I can tell on YouTube, I can tell on anything. As soon as if I see a video pop up in my feed and I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's a clickbait guy. He doesn't give a shit about this. He's not talking with any authority. Forget it. And that's the thing. And those guys get weeded out very quickly, which is why you keep seeing a lot of this clickbait shit. And you're like, what's this website? Like, who are these guys? What do they know? And so as long as you keep up with the site and people see you, this is why the YouTube is great, because they can see you and they see your passion. They see what how much you're into it. And you're not just saying, I like action movies. It's like we're discussing it like a real movie. We're treating it with respect. And I think people catch on to that, and that's what keeps them coming back. So,
and we also watch, real movies as well, because I actually was taught film criticism at college. It isn't an elective. I did the art of cinema, so we did Citizen Kane and all these older movies, and learn to appreciate the old black and white ones as well. So I can watch the Orson Welles movies and everything, as well as watching things explode. So.
Well, I just watched a Judy Garland movie, Easter Parade. I watched a Judy Garland movie and Exterminator in the same week.
The perfect double bill.
And it's like, who is this guy? It's like, and then I throw on the He-Man cartoon. It's like, who are you? Like, what is happening?
I think the next script you write is Judy Garland is the Exterminator.
Oh my God, she would kill everybody.
That would be awesome. All right, well, I think that wraps it up anyway. But give me back my action movies. Just says true fans support true fans. Yes, they do.
Yes,
you're awesome.
Good point.
Also, I just want to mention that I was looking at the stats earlier, and I said that 68% of people who watch this aren't subscribed. So if you could please like and subscribe, so then it gets the channel out there, and then we can, frankly, do more stuff. That would be awesome. So please like and subscribe to J-Man's channel as well, because frankly he does more stuff than I do. You do all kinds of interesting stuff, which I wish I could have more time to join in on. And off topic, check out the new Netflix horror series Midnight Mass. Oh, I've seen them, bits of that. It looks interesting. I want to check it out. I'm trying to finish. I'm just finishing off Lucifer just now. I think I've got 3 episodes left of it. We're on season 6. So,
I never read that comic, so I wasn't. It's a DC comic. I just never got into it.
Yeah, I've never read the comic, but I enjoy the show because I like Tom Ellis, and for a while there, he was my choice to be the next Bond. And I think he looks the part, but I think his voice is a little too weedy. So I don't know. We can discuss that next Friday on the Daniel Craig era Bond movies, which we'll discuss next Friday. So thank you. Could not be reached for further comment. which is an awesome username.
yeah.
So that's awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys. And I will see you all on Monday night where we'll be talking about Miami Vice. If anybody wants to join, let us know. And next Friday, we'll be doing James Bond. What's your next one, Jim?
I don't know. I haven't scheduled anything yet. Probably. No, it won't be Thursday. Yeah, maybe Thursday. Maybe this Thursday. Yeah, maybe I'll do something this Thursday.
Okay. So keep an eye out anyway, and we'll post something. And then if not, we will see you all next week. Alrighty. And so if you're watching, remember, you are the action lead.